And last, but definitely not least, one of my favorite speakers, Randy Iwasaki, is here from Contra Costa Transportation Authority, talking about City 5.0, envisioning the next generation of cities. Randy Iwasaki serves as the Executive Director of the Contra Costa Transportation Authority. He is responsible for administering the 0.5% local transportation sales tax program and directing congestion management activities for the county. In addition to the overall management of the authority, including its projects, programs, policies, and procedures, the board approved budget and all personnel decisions. With expertise in the intelligent transportation systems, Randy is a passionate advocate for using technology to redefine mobility. Under his leadership, CCTA has established the largest connected and autonomous vehicle test bed at the former naval station in Concord, California. Prior to joining the authority in 2010, Randy was with Caltrans for more than 26 years, serving in various engineering and management positions. He was appointed by Governor Schwarzenegger in August 2009 as director of the California Department of Transportation. Randy serves on a number of national transportation panels and was recently appointed chair of the National Freight Advisory Committee. Please join me in welcoming Randy Iwasaki.
Thank you, Russ, for that introduction. I appreciate that. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about how we're dealing with the City 5.0 concept, or smarter cities in Contra Costa County. So every now and again, I'm lucky enough to get out to speak beyond Contra Costa County borders, and so I promised my board, I report to an 11-member board, I would tell you a little bit about who we are. So we're a sales tax authority, as Russ mentioned, and we're also a congestion management agency by law. In 1988, we were probably the second or third county in California to tax ourselves for transportation, and that was Measure C. It passed with about 58% voter approval, and that's important because in 2004, we went out for another sales tax measure, and we have a saying at the Contra Costa Transportation Authority: promises made, promises kept. And so you can't deliver a second sales tax measure, or it's difficult if you don't deliver on the first. And so in 2004, 71% of the voters voted yes. It's about $2.7 billion over 25 years. It starts in 2009, and it ends in 2034. We're a AAA rated agency. We finance our construction program. We go out to Wall Street and we sell tax-exempt municipal bonds. And so we have a 25 and 10-year program where we're delivering 25 years of projects in 10 years. And we do that through Wall Street. We sell tax-exempt municipal bonds. And so we're thinking about going out for another measure in 2016. That would be about 25 years, and that's another $3 billion. These are some of the things that we do. So if a board member, I report to 11 board members, if they approach you and said, "Did Randy talk about what we do?" That's right there. So now you know. I'm going to take you back in history, talk a little bit about transportation, but about smarter cities. Government-run program Sputnik started the space race. John F. Kennedy said, "We're going to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade." Now, did he say we needed to do an FSR, an EIR, an EIS, a risk management plan, and making sure that everybody's in tune with this program? We'd still be working on putting a man on the moon today. I see you agree. Flushing Meadows, New York, 1964, World's Fair, autonomous vehicles, self-driving vehicles were introduced or thought about. In 1939 as well. Walt Disney had a little theme park to the south of us in Anaheim and said, "Tomorrowland, we're going to have cars that drive themselves, hands off wheel, feet off pedal." I worked at Caltrans, as was mentioned before, for 27 years, just a month shy. And we had a program there called the Automated Highway System Program, hands off wheel, feet off pedal. General Motors was a partner. Those are Buick LeSabres. Some of those vehicles still exist today at UC Berkeley. They were another partner. PB Faraday, Hughes Aircraft. It was really a public-private partnership in developing this technology, hands off wheel, feet off pedal. That's in San Diego in 1997. Elon Musk, it's rumored that I barbecue with him on the weekends. You can go ahead and tweet that out. I love perpetuating that rumor. Tesla, they actually turned on the software this year, autopilot. That's on freeway only. That's not in cities. Hands off wheel, feet off pedal. Some of the Tesla drivers, you can go on YouTube and look at that for yourself. They're in the passenger seat, nobody's in the driver's seat, and the vehicle is going down the freeway at 65 miles an hour. I don't ask you to do that for yourselves, but you can go on the internet and take a look at that for yourselves. Mentioned before, these are internet users. You can go to this website. I just went there. It's about $3.2 billion internet users. The third most prevalent internet user in the future is going to be the car. It's going to be connected to the internet. So let's talk a little bit about cities to give you a look back. Cities were formed around ports. Why? Goods in, goods out, people in, people out. Mobility. That's my business. City 2.0. Dwight David Eisenhower said, we're going to build a defense tool called the interstate system. So it went across the nation as well as the railroad system met in Promontory Point, Utah. It opened up the Midwest. Goods in, goods out, people in, people out. The economy of the United States blossomed with this transportation system. This isn't my term. We worked backwards. So City 3.0, Eric Garcetti, mayor of Los Angeles, Kevin Johnson, mayor of Sacramento, coined the term City 3.0, and that's a connected city, an internet Wi-Fi enabled city. And why do they do that? They're trying to use technology to reduce the cost of services they provide their citizens. And at the end of the day, if you work in government, that's what you're going to try to do. So the question is, who's the largest seller of music today? iTunes, right? They don't have a record store. In the old days, we had to go down to the record store. We had to buy an album, tape that one song that we liked and got rid of the album and listen to that one song over and over. Today, you can just buy that one song and you don't have to get off your couch or your easy chair to buy that piece of music. Uber, largest taxi cab in the world, taxi cab company in the world, no taxi cabs. The list goes on. So technology is changing the way we provide services. And those two mayors, and I've read their speeches, so I'm just taking their information, have coined the term City 3.0, a connected city. How do we use technology to reduce the cost of services that we provide you? As I look out in the audience, I see customers. So we've coined the term at the Contra Costa Transportation Authority, City 5.0, and people ask me, why'd you skip City 4.0? I love Hawaii 5.0, and it sounds a lot better than City 4.0. But the idea, and really it's 5G technology, so the 5th generation wireless is coming our way very shortly by the year 2020. We want to capitalize on that. So if you're going to have a connected city, let's take a look at your cell phone, your cell service as a provider as well. So the idea is to overlay a subscription-based autonomous transportation system over that connected city. I push a button, come get me, and I'll show you one of the innovations that we're trying to deploy in Contra Costa County. But all those vehicles emit information, position, weather, condition of the roadway, all that information is to be aggregated, and Jessica's system is going to be able to relay that information out through the internet, and you'll be able to get better information. As users of the system, but as owners of the system, you get better information on where repairs are needed and those kinds of things. So intermodal innovations, connectivity, first and last mile, making sure more people have an opportunity to get into transit. If you're disabled, some opportunities there as well. And you get better information. So this is kind of, in a nutshell, it's not a very good picture. It's our best attempt to kind of show you a city. But those are the components of a smarter city, City 5.0. And ours is smarter mobility. So we're planning for the future. What's happening in California, for whatever reason, people want to move here. So our population is growing, households are growing, and jobs are growing. A lot of times those jobs are down in the Silicon Valley, and we're up in Contra Costa County. So we're trying to bring those jobs from the Silicon Valley into Contra Costa County. I'll explain how we're doing that. But we're having to provide mobility for that. The other thing we do is we go out and we update our countywide transportation plan every 4 years, and we look forward 25 years. The majority of the planning organizations in California, in the United States today, don't take tomorrow's technology, embed it in there, and then model against the results. We're trying to do that at the authority. And it's very difficult because the modelers aren't used to modeling something that isn't here yet, and then figure out what the advantages to that are. We also use, in citizens engagement, wherever my friend from Australia is, we actually use robocalling. So we'll robocall 8,000 people, and then we use telephone town halls, and we'll sit there and we'll answer people's questions for over an hour. And we'll get citizen engagement through that process, and then we modify our countywide transportation plans. And so that's what we're doing in Contra Costa, is we're trying to take advantage of the next generation of technology embedded in our 25 years, model against that, and show reduction of congestion, reduction of greenhouse gases. And so we're working on that right now. The other thing that I would tell you, that I went from 22,000 employees to 19. So there's 20 of us, and we call ourselves a pea shooter. Actually, I call ourselves a pea shooter organization. We're very small, but there's a Venn diagram there, and really, we want to work in the middle. Dream big, and it used to say something else, but get stuff done and know how to have fun while you're doing it, right? That's where you want to work. That's where most innovative people want to work, in that kind of environment. And so you have to assemble the right team, and I think we've done that at the authority. Transportation financing in California, you didn't know this, but when you fill up your tank of gas, a majority of that goes to the federal and state. They only provide about 13% from the federal government and about 22% from the state government. 65% of that funding for all the projects you see that are capacity increasing, Interstate 80, those projects, it comes from sales tax or tolls. 65% of the dollars are generated by local agencies in California. So we've developed the largest secure autonomous vehicle test facility in the United States. Why? Because we don't want jobs leaving California. It pains me when I see somebody testing in Texas or somebody testing in Utah or Nevada. I want to keep those jobs here in California, so I'm trying to do my part. So we've taken an old military base, the Naval Weapons Station in Concord. It's 5,000 acres. It's about the fifth the size of San Francisco. So San Francisco is 7 miles by 7 miles, 49 square miles. This is 5 miles by 1.5 miles. So it's a big facility. And it's got roadways, it's got bridges, it's got tunnels. It's a great location for testing. We've negotiated a license with the U.S. Navy, which is not easy, and the city of Concord. And so now Honda's testing. There's a number of roadside equipment vendors, and we have data partners, because you're going to gather a lot of data. So how do you deal with all that data? I mentioned before that we're trying to create jobs. This is my attempt to bring, so Honda's our first major car manufacturer. They've actually leased the space in Concord. They're bringing their tuners, their software, their hardware experts up, and they don't have to drive as far. And hopefully they'll find that Contra Costa County is a great place to live. Concord's a nice place to live. It's a lot cheaper than the Silicon Valley, I can tell you that. Imagine when your cars refuse to crash. So about 50% of the congestion that you endure on the roadways today are caused by non-recurrent congestion or special events. So weather, accidents, the Super Bowl. Watch out, Super Bowl, it's coming our way. So it's going to create a lot of congestion. If you can eliminate the accidents because cars refuse to crash, you're going to eliminate about 30% of that, of the total. And so we're excited about that. And then, of course, safety. 33,000 people were killed last year on the roadways in the United States. That's too many. And so we're trying to reduce that. And then we're bullish on zero-emission vehicles. So if the fleet turns over and you get zero-emission vehicles, you can drive greenhouse gases down to nothing, almost nothing. So we're excited about that as well. So we signed an exclusive agreement recently. It's a self-driving vehicle for North America. It's Easy Mile. It's a partnership between Ligier Motors and Robosoft, the software company developing it's an autonomous driving system. It learns the path. It goes through that path and makes sure it doesn't hit anything. It's got sensors on this vehicle. It seats 6, 3 across facing each other, and it stands another 6. It actually has room for 1 wheelchair. We think that this is a great opportunity. And so we're going to take delivery of these in July, 2 of them, and we're going to start testing them out at Gomentum Station. And then we're going to deploy them out at Bishop Ranch in San Ramon. In fact, Excella is located at Bishop Ranch. And so we're going to deploy that there, because right now these big buses that bring employees in, what happens is they weave through that whole 600 acres. And if you're the last off the bus, you're late for work. They don't want to be late for work, so they drive to work. We want to provide an option. So in the future, the bus will stop, let off patrons, and those vehicles will take them to their locations. So Alex Marin, the owner of Bishop Ranch, is a good friend of mine. He is a strong supporter of this technology. And the real reason is, as he's expanded the Bishop Ranch, he has to build more parking. So parking costs about I used to say $35,000 a space. Someone told me the other day it's $55,000 a space. But in 20 years, you have to ask yourself this question: are you going to need that? And then what are you going to do with those parking structures in the future? Google has a great application. You can actually take a look at all the parking in downtown Los Angeles. You'd be surprised, or in San Francisco, how much space is available for parking. It's a lot. So this is the idea in the future after testing out at Bishop Ranch, where Excella is located. And we're gonna try, there's no BART down 680, so we're trying to figure out a way of feeding those express buses to send them down Interstate 680, because in order to extend BART, it's about $8 billion. So if anybody has a check for $8 billion, we'd be happy to build BART down Interstate 680, but not very many people have come up and offered that. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for having a public sector person up here speaking to all of you, and good luck.